without David. Got Forrest and Big Rob.
What up?
Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. Guys, gals, if it's your first time checking us out, we're an entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where we take the old, boring, and stale information and repackage it up in a fun and sexy way. That's what we do here. Also, we take a look at price of Bitcoin, which is hanging out at that nice 30K range. And then today's show is packed. We got a banger for you today. We got Robert F. Kennedy Jr. coming out saying he wants to back the dollar with Bitcoin and other assets, of course. And also, who needs capital gains on something that's a currency? You don't pay capital gains on dollars. Why pay it on Bitcoin? And then also, we're going to talk about a new bank replacing the old Silvergate. So now we have the resurgence of on and off ramps for crypto platforms. And then also, we got some funny stuff coming up. Also, we got a special guest coming in today. Not only do we have Force, but the desk has spoken, and I'll give you a little insight on that in a little while. But the desk has spoken. Yes, that's right. And so, without further ado, I do want to introduce our other co-host here today. We got from Sistine Research, my man Forrest. He's I officially think I don't even think you're a guest anymore. I think you are now just Sin City, analyst here, and you're just in the rotation now. But we don't pay you, so
yeah. I'm a regular. Been on this show since almost the beginning, pretty early on, well over a year ago. It's been a pleasure to watch the channel grow, pretty steadily and organically. But yeah, thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure. Excited to get to it today.
Awesome, thank you. And then also we do have AJ from the Hit Network. He is going to be going over charts. He'll be joining us in about 10 minutes to give us a little insight on Bitcoin. I think he might do a little XRP and Ethereum too. And if there's any tokens that you guys are excited about, please put those in the chat. Anything you want us to take a look at, and we'll if time allots it, we'll get to it. Now, before we get into it, I do want to give a big shout out to our channel sponsor, who's been helping us out a tremendous amount lately because we've launched our 4K stream. So today's show is brought to you by Cam's Blue Wire Tech in 4K. We have their website there, bluewiretech.com, link in the description as well. If you're looking for any IT solutions when it comes to networking for your business or security, check them out. And then, can't do the show without a little bit of making fun of Joe Biden. That's what we do here. So, my man, we can go a day without it, but you can't go a whole week without some kind of Joe Biden video. And I talked to the team, and I was like, guys, he's an elderly man. We can't be showing videos of him falling. That's just rude. That's not nice. But we can show videos of him sleeping. So here we go. He's meeting with the Israeli president. Anyways, let's.
And we brought Israelis and Palestinians together at a political level, and Aqua and his old Shram.
Yeah.
And as I affirmed the Prime Minister, and we brought Israelis.
He's got his head down and he's just mumbling, man. You're meeting with another president of a country and you're not even making eye contact. I'm pretty sure he's sleeping. Or his brain's
How
sleeping.
frustrating to be that other guy, the other president. You're just like, what am I supposed to do with this? He's trying to be patient.
He's mumbling, man. He didn't slip up on a word. He's just got his head down. He's just mumbling, dude. And so
that dude's too old to be.
Yeah, it's very strange. So, anyways, that's the leader of the free world there, leader of the United States. Now things are changing. Obviously, we welcome change at the presidential seat, but we also welcome the change of gender roles. And well, before we get canceled, just let the video speak for itself. And so you have a lady here, and typically the man steps up at the boxing. Here, just watch. Yeah, so man's he's cleaning the dishes. The man of the house now is let's the lady step up and earn the tickets at the arcade now. So moving on, we got let's see here. Also, if for my cat friends, my dog lovers, dogs might be called Batman. Dogs might be called man's best friend, but we don't show the police where the drugs are. Meow. and then only in Pakistan you have a motorcycle with it's styrofoam. I will say that. So it's a light load, but very impressive stacking there. Man is obviously good at Tetris. Well, we'll leave it at that.
That's wild.
And yeah, that's all I got there on that end.
Oh, that was impressive.
That was yeah. You know, it's an extraordinary feat to have that kind of balance, right? Not run into things. Now, I do want to take a quick look at the markets, and then I will we'll get into some charts here in a moment. But our market overview is brought to you by our second sponsor, I Trust Capital. And so, if you are looking to put away your Bitcoin long term and hide your tax responsibilities and pay your taxes up front and not pay capital gains on the back end, well, we have a platform, I Trust Capital, that offers an investment vehicle into Roth IRAs. So check them out. Link in the description. You also get $100 for the first time you load up your account if you use our link in the description. Now, I do want to get into Bitcoin coming in at 29,000. And as I mentioned, we do got AJ coming on here shortly, so I'm not going to go into depth, but just a quick overview on where we're at on the prices. We've been flirting around with this 30K. Pretty close to it. It's surprising. Usually big numbers like this tend to be strong resistance, support, tends to bounce off of that. But you know what? It's just hugging it like a you know, sweet woman. So we've been hanging out at the 30K mark here for the day, and you can see that the XRP bump a week ago or about 6 days ago brought us up to 30,000, but we're holding support there pretty well, even though we're on the bottom side of the 30, but not by much. I did want to pull up a couple tweets as well, but just to take a look real quick, we did have a big movement on Stellar XLM. I know we were talking about this pre-show, up 25%. So not only is XRP rallying, but another token that is in the Bankers Coin kind of ecosystem, Stellar Lumens, up 65% on the week. And we've seen this time and time again when NFT space pumps, you know, that whole market sometimes goes with it. We've seen it with the meta and the gaming. We've seen it with DeFi. So these things pump in groups. No surprise to see Stellar popping off as well. Optimism up, MakerDAO, and then some of the biggest losers today. Not much in the red, just 1 inch. And then a handful of tokens right around the 1% there. Now, getting into a couple tweets while we're here before we get into the charts. So this is Representative Richie Torres, and we're gonna go through a few tweets. Now, Judge, he was talking about Judge Torres's decision in the Ripple case establishes what he calls Torres doctrine. Now, this is rejecting the SEC governor chair Gary Gensler's indiscriminate assault on crypto. So he goes to just simply say digital assets aren't securities in themselves, but can be part of an investment contract, which are securities. So he's saying that you're not free and clear of selling securities in the crypto space, but the crypto assets themselves are not securities. I'm sure there are some exceptions, some tokens out there that get launched with no utility that you could deem a security. But for the ones that we talk about regularly, because of their utility, their use case, their interoperability, it's not just a speculation on making money. It's not an investment contract, but it does have real case utility, and it does serve a real purpose. Other haters out there in this world, like Peter Schiff, Bitcoin hater. Now, he came out and he said, my son Spencer, who has been a very vocal supporter of Bitcoin, he said he's no longer bullish on Bitcoin. And as young people typically do, he lost his interest in the passing fad and moved on to something new. And in this case, AI, that's what captivated his attention. And as Bitcoin's young fan base matures, many more will grow out of Bitcoin. And, I just happened to see, what did Spencer have to say about this? And you know what? I clicked on old Spencer and he blocked us. The man is literally like getting out of it. He is so anti-Bitcoin. He is now blocked Sin City Crypto's Twitter handle. So to you, Spencer, we don't want you back. You left the team. Don't come back, because we know what happens when the Bitcoin market rallies, as all the haters, they come back onto the field. We don't want you back, Spencer. You and your dad can go hang out, wear your gold chains. We're going to drive our Lambos, spend our Bitcoin. So what do you think about Peter Schiff, son? Do you think Bitcoin's a passing fad?
No, I don't think Bitcoin or crypto is a passing fad. I do think that there's a chance that even some large caps will eventually fade off or be replaced by new technology, in the same way that, AOL was not a passing fad. It was just a stepping stone towards, more advanced technology. Same with dial-up internet. I wouldn't call those things passing fads. I think Bitcoin's here to stay. I think it's going to be around for at least another 3 to 4 cycles. And even then, even in the bear case for Bitcoin, where, there's issues, it's probably just going to be forked and upgraded over time, right? We see this time and time again. I don't think Bitcoin's a fad whatsoever. As far as Peter Schiff goes and his son Spencer Schiff, it's kind of weird. It's like bizarre or whatever. I don't know what their relationship is like. It doesn't seem like it's great, because they seem to let things like Bitcoin get in between their relationship. But obviously, Peter Schiff is a big fan of gold, and he shills his bags. And it's the same thing. It's like you look at what somebody's a big fan of, or what they're constantly shilling or hating on, and then you look at what they make their money from. And Bitcoin poses a threat to his very business. He's heavily invested in gold. He's heavily invested in, if I'm not mistaken, gold exchanges. So Bitcoin being called digital gold, he's going to try to hate on it as much as possible, because it's going to take money away from him. So not a big fan of that guy.
On an interesting side note, so his son has lost interest in Bitcoin and found interest in AI. Now, AI has been obviously an explosion of adoption lately with users and use case. But just here, outside of crypto, but just something to think about. I have an article here, Rock, if you want to pull this one up. Now, Meta has released a free of charge AI challenging both OpenAI and Google. And there's something to think about. Meta did come out and push against the grain with Facebook, which was free to use. Not that there wasn't MySpace, which was also free to use, but the business model is if you bring the users, the money will come. You don't need to tax the user. Just bring the users and then tax their data, right? That's their business model. So it looks like they are increasing that business plan and spreading it out to Meta and AI. I know I have an account with OpenAI's ChatGPT, and I think it's about $20 a month. Now, they do have a free-to-use version, but I think that this is going to be the norm here moving forward, the same way that you don't pay for your Google search and your web browser search. I think that AI and those tools, they just want your attention, your data, and your time in their platform. And I think Meta is leading the charge on this one. Now, I do want to get into our next guest. So we got AJ Pleasanton. He is a man of the charts, also a wordsmith. He is has a degree in I don't remember his degree, but he's
Where are you going?
he writes scripts as well,
Okay.
and helps helps on the back end with the Bit Boys Network. And so I'll let him introduce his degree and background there in education. But I'm just trying to hype my man up and say he does more than just charts. So
All right.
without further ado, let's bring on my boy AJ.
What's up, dude? How you doing?
What's happening, man? Where's your degree at, man? I remember we had this conversation, and I was like, "Oh man, my man know more than charts."
Well, no, my education was pretty spread out. Like after high school, I went to college in Maryland, and I went to college in Connecticut. I quit school. I got an associate's degree, but I left before I got my bachelor's, and I don't want to have to like move back to Connecticut for like one more semester, and I'm never moving back to Connecticut, and my credits won't transfer, so I don't need college anymore. I'm past it. I've evolved.
Awesome. Well, it's
Yeah.
always a pleasure having you. You know, you're a friend of the channel, not just you know, a guest of the channel, somebody that, you know, we come out to Vegas, you know, we come out, we hang out, have a dinner.
Yeah.
Same thing when we go out there. So
Totally.
we always appreciate your insight. And you're the Swiss Army knife when it comes to crypto. And so we want to thank you there. I want to get into, I know we're going to get into some charts here in a moment. I do have some on-chain data from Glassnode. So even though the price of Bitcoin hasn't necessarily moved much in the last 3 to 4 weeks when we got to the 30K mark, there has been a lot of data going on, or there's a lot of on-chain data that reflects investors' growing interest in Bitcoin and the adoption of Bitcoin. And so I'm going to pull this article up here. I got... So even though the Bitcoin price falls to 29.5, on-chain data reflects investor sentiment. And going into just to go into this Glassnode chart here, we have the some accumulate. So this is the accumulation trend score. And so as you get closer to the number, as you get closer to 1, where we're at now, it's more representative of buying mentality, and that institutions and the whales are hodling long term. Retail is buying and not selling. And as you get further away and get closer to the 0 score here on this trend, you are getting more of the selling mentality. And so on-chain data is moving in the positive direction of accumulation. And so there's that. And then also, you can't talk bullishly about Bitcoin without getting into a little crypto FUD. And so we have actor Ben McKenzie, who was testifying in Congress, I think it was about 3 or 4 weeks ago, pretty anti-crypto. The man here does have a bachelor's degree in economics, and that's about it. And so we're just gonna
you dug in, and yet you admit you still didn't get it.
I don't get it either. It's not rooted. It's not a thing. It's not like if you buy a stock, it represents a company. If you buy a bond, you've got debt on somebody. Yeah. Right. If you invest in grain futures, like there is a farm somewhere making grain. Like what is crypto actually rooted in or on?
Nothing. It's a story. I mean, these are bits of computer code that are uncorrelated with any real world asset, to your point. If they're an investment in what exactly? And the reason that I use the word Ponzi scheme in front of the Senate is that an investment scheme without value is a Ponzi scheme. I mean, that's the definition, and Ponzi schemes are regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission. So in my opinion, the cryptocurrency industry does represent the largest Ponzi scheme in history.
All right, so now we'll get back into the charts here now, or just
What
kind
an
of
idiot.
back into Bitcoin sentiment. So you got mainstream media. You know, before this ETF goes live with BlackRock, we're assuming that it passes. I think that we're starting to lean that direction. But sentiment's rising. People are holding. People are buying. I think institutions are coming in. That's what the on-chain data is saying. You still have the other end of the spectrum, traditional media, still hating. where do you think Bitcoin's price is going? What do you think the charts are? Because on one end, we've been echoing here in studio, probably going to consolidate for 30K for a little longer. But what do you think? What's on the horizon? What's the Bitcoin charts telling us?
Okay. Let me pull my chart up here. Toggle screen sharing. Make sure this is the right one. Okay. All right. You see that?
Yep, we got it.
All right. So this is the 3-day chart for Bitcoin. So what's really important to me here is the 31,000 level. So basically, it was the floor here back in 21. They fought over it here in 22. We got rejected from it back in April, and now we are flirting with it yet again. A couple days ago was the yearly high so far for Bitcoin. We were temporarily over that level, but once the daily chart finally printed, it was just a wick over it and finished there. So we're really getting to a decision time as we look at the 3-day chart. Since the beginning of 2023, Bitcoin is an overall up channel. Even though we spent this much time consolidating down, we were technically still in an uptrend because we never broke the channel. But see, kind of getting past 31 and bullishly retesting 31 is everything to do. If we came down here to 28 and then stayed in the channel and kind of worked our way up the edge, that would be the best way for Bitcoin to get above and stay above 31K. That is seriously the biggest deal to me. What kind of freaks me out is that if we look the RSI and on Market Cipher, technically speaking, this is a higher high, and on Market Cipher, it's higher high, higher low, and the same thing with the RSI. Same thing with the RSI, and that's a clear-cut case of bearish divergence. And that's on the 3-day chart. And, if something's on a 10-minute chart matters less than something on a 1-day chart. So something on a 3-day chart is a super big deal in terms of TA. So how far will this take us down? And even if we kind of look into a 2-hour chart instead of a 3-day chart, let me fix this really quick. So the other thing is that basically since Bitcoin came up in June, and it has basically stayed in this range here. And this range here, from the moment it came up till right now, Bitcoin has traded in about a 6.5% range for the past 28 days and 8 hours, just ranging in the same spot. And most of that range is smaller range. I'm talking the wicks as well. So the 2-hour isn't that bad, considering it got rejected from the 50 on the RSI, and it's trying to get back above the 50 on the RSI, and the 50 getting above and staying above the 50 on the RSI is perfect for bullish continuation. But at the same time, we're kind of at this little decision point for Bitcoin. They're going down, but before down, are we not going to break that overall uptrend? So we're in a weird spot. Sorry, computer's being a little slow right now, but we're in a weird just from the daily chart in general, because we got rejected from 31 again, and only so many days can go by here until we either 1, lose the overall uptrend, or 2, get above and stay above 31,000. So that's basically where we're at with Bitcoin at the moment.
Okay.
Interesting.
I know we're gonna take a look at some other coins. I did want to get a little insight from the chat, guys. What tokens did you like us to take a look at? Is there any projects that you're curious on the charts? Also, we are at 70 likes here, so let's get the outlaw train going. Let's get the likes going, and first of all, I got a couple things. One, I want to ask our viewers to give AJ a warm welcome by dropping him the Ola, show him that we appreciate him being here. So we're going to get an Ola train going. And then also, do us a favor, hit the like button. And today's like button is actually brought to you by David's Desk. And so, without further ado, let's get a like button chant from David's Desk. There we go.
Oh my God.
There it is. There it is. So yeah, hit the like button, guys.
You guys are too much.
That's from Davis Disc. So now I know Ethereum has been flirting with the $1,800 or $1,900 mark, and I know you're a fan of Ethereum's chart lately, and you wanted to take a look at that. Is there anything that's screaming out on that
sure.
side?
Yeah, sure. Let me pull it up really quick. Boom. All right. Can you see that?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So here's the Ethereum 2-hour chart. So really like nothing that crazy here other than the simple idea that it's been kind of in this ascending channel, technically since towards the end of June. And it's just kind of ranging back and forth in this channel for now. Let me make those a little thicker. We're kind of just ranging in this channel, right? So kind of my idea here is, well, one, we have to see what Bitcoin does, because what Bitcoin does in the next, week or two is really going to decide, like I said, if we're going to get above and stay above 31 or if we're going to lose the overall uptrend. And I feel like that will kind of tell this with Ethereum. With Ethereum, though, on the 2-hour, like a part of me wants to, kind of just say, well, we're at the bottom of the range. And the last couple of times we were at the bottom of the range, we went back to the top of the range. So if that was to happen and we just did something like this and did something like that and just kind of followed that pattern, I mean, that would take us right up to 2,000 for now. Other than that, if we were to fall down on the other side of that range, well, we kind of got to see like where the volume's sitting. Let me kind of zoom out here, look at like an 8-hour chart or something like that. So there is a lot of volume and a lot of order blocks. I really like the Lux Algo indicator with the order blocks that show. Sorry, I have a previous position entry right there. So we have you can see the order blocks that kind of coincides with the visible range volume profile right here. So basically, if Ethereum, if this kind of constitutes, if we don't go any higher, and this constitutes as a lower high, I would kind of see us probably going back somewhere, 1640 to 1400 if it was to fall. And that would coincide with the idea that Bitcoin is going to fall out of the overall uptrend. So you can either look at it like this. You can either look at it like right there. Let me get rid of this other one so it's not confusing. We can look at it as in we're beginning a downtrend, or you can look at it as we're continuing the uptrend, which would be right there. So just like Bitcoin, Ethereum is also in this weird spot where is it going to break through, or is it going to continue up in the range? And they're literally, the point I wanted to make is that they're both in the same situation. That idea is that like am I in a trade right now this second? No. And a lot of that is because we're kind of sitting on the edge of the fence for both of these coins, and I'm kind of waiting for the market to give me a signal.
All right. Then I want to pass it over to Forrest. Is there anything on either Bitcoin or Ethereum that's standing out to you? Is there anything that maybe AJ had pointed out that you maybe wanted to touch on or expand on, or perhaps something in the ecosystem that you're maybe keeping an eye on, even if it's in the NFT outside of the charts? Or what you got?
Sure. Yeah. Cover a couple things. AJ did a fantastic job. I was looking at this on Ethereum this morning. So on the right hand side here, we have the 2019 Ethereum bottom, and this is this was the actual absolute bottom for Ethereum in the last bull market. And rather than pulling up one of those fractals, I just copy pasted or whatever, just to make it a little bit easier to see. But we're actually following a really similar pattern. It's just taking a longer time to play out. So you had your capitulation down here, your dead cat bounce up to $2,000, right? And then we started forming a higher low. Came in, and again we took the liquidity here. We took the longs up here. Sorry, we took the shorts rather at this kind of 4 level, similar to what we saw in 2019. And we've just been steadily climbing, putting in a pattern of higher lows, but failing to get through, right? Failing to break through this initial dead cat bounce up to $2,000. If and when we break through this and we make support on top of it, it's incredibly bullish. That is a full ascending triangle pattern. And I repeatedly say I'm not a big pattern person unless it's an ascending triangle. When it's an ascending triangle, because they're so forgiving to trade and because they send so high when they end up breaking out to the upside. I mean, last time we had a 131% move. I'm not saying that's what we would get this time, but that's just there to kind of demonstrate. You have all of this pent up resistance here. And then when you finally get the confidence to break through it, usually everybody apes in, and you have just like, even if you look to the left here, this huge gap in volume to run it all the way back up to potentially $3,000. Obviously, there's going to be some resistance levels along the way, but if you really look at this last stretch here in this capitulation, we didn't really get that big resistance up until $3,600. This is a big gap in volume that I wouldn't be surprised if we did fill it. So obviously that is illustrating the bullish case. And, look, bad things could happen. We could get this Bitcoin ETF denied. We could get a Binance US collapse or a further litigation against Binance. So Binance could be on shaky ground. That situation could worsen, and then in which case maybe we break this pattern to the downside. Maybe we extend it further down, and we have to redraw it. But ultimately, this is a bullish pattern for me. This is exactly the pattern we followed last bear market cycle for Ethereum, and I think there's asymmetric risk reward here, in particular on Ethereum, just because we have just so much upside if we do break it through. The way to trade this is really simply, you can just wait to bid this on the trend line. You've had 2 opportunities to do so recently, or just play the breakout. Like once we take this out, look to get long. Really, really easy pattern to trade. If you're a beginner to trading, I don't encourage anybody to take unnecessary risks if you're not into trading or anything like that. But if you're wanting to get into trading, this is just such an easy trade. It's really, really amazing risk reward, and you can just move your stop loss up along with this trend line. So if at any point in the future, right, you break this trend line and the pattern doesn't pan out, you've entered down here, but you're stopping yourself out at a much higher level, and you've already locked in profit. So if you can just get a little bit of wiggle room on this trade, a little bit of cushion here, and it starts playing out in your favor, you can really protect your downside there. So that's the main thing I'm looking at for Ethereum. Keeping track of some stuff in some smaller markets. This was one that we called out earlier this week. It's called, it was a $2 million market cap token when we called it out. It's now breaking out to 8 million. There's a Telegram bot narrative going on. In fact, if we go to CoinGecko here, I just want to draw people's attention to this is because it's an emerging narrative. If we go to categories, CoinGecko actually, if I'm not mistaken, just added this as a category, Telegram bots. Here we go. They even have the fire emoji next to it. So these Telegram bots are being monetized and turned into tokens. And you look at the amount of volume that's been coming in, and like this one's up 400% today. Unibot up 70% on the week.
Will you expand? What is a Telegram bot as far as a token? Is that? I mean, is it? It sounds kind of like a meme coin almost to myself. Me hearing it?
Almost, but there is actual real value there. So Unibot, for example, and again, this is very, very new. We don't know how this is going to shake out. I'm not, trying to encourage anybody to ape into these, just making, you asked if anything was on my radar. This is kind of what's on my radar right now. Unibot, for example, and again, it's still a low market. It's $75 million market cap, ranked 322. So what Unibot does, it's a trading bot that uses Telegram as the interface to trade through Uniswap. So let's say you're somebody who doesn't really want to figure out the Uniswap interface, or you have trouble with it, or you just don't want to go to Uniswap every time you want to make a trade. You can go to the Unibot Telegram group or channel and just type in, you just type in like, I don't know what the exact commands are, but it's like trade 20 Ethereum for wrapped Ethereum, or trade 1 ETH for USDT, and it'll send that through. In Unibot, the project takes a fee on that trade, just like you'd pay a fee to MetaMask when you trade through their interface or whatever. And they've gained quite a bit of popularity and a lot of users. And then, if I'm not mistaken, they pay out those fees, that yield, to stakers of Unibot. So if you stake Unibot, again, I'm not 100% certain with Unibot, but I know the case with Genie. GenieBot is somewhat of a similar product, but rather than being a trading bot, it's a Telegram bot for it's an AI like machine. It's like an AI chatbot where projects can load up all of their white papers and all of their stuff. So rather than paying a Telegram community manager, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month, for $1,000 a month subscription, which again, that revenue gets shared out to GenieBot stakers or Genie stakers, you can load up the AI model with all of your white papers and all the information about your product. And then anyone can go into Telegram, in your Telegram community, and ask any question about the project, and it will answer it right then and there, replacing the need for community managers, because oftentimes you're just getting the same question over and over and over again. And if somebody's asking like, oh, how many tokens are there in this project, it'll just spit that answer out for you and save a lot of time. So the more projects that they onboard to use this, the more subscription revenue that they create, the more that this ends up the more revenue that they share, and the more revenue the stakers of this project will hold. Now, this has been running pretty hard. It's up from it started out at a very low market cap. We called it out at 2 million market cap. It's already up at a 7.5 million market cap here. I'm not suggesting anybody ape into this or anything like that, but again, just this is a new category on CoinGecko that is seeing some speculation and definitely worth tracking in the future.
Something that's also caught wind and catching stride right now is XRP. And not just, we've seen the price movement, going up to crossed 80 cents yesterday. And so it's trading above 80 cents. Obviously know that the court case is it's leaned favorable to Ripple. Anyways, I want to take a look. You have something that is pretty astounding to me. We have XRP has surpassed Bitcoin, accounting for 21% of total trading volume after the SEC win. And so on a 10-day chart here, looking at the volume traded, I don't think anything has flipped the volume of Bitcoin in quite some time, at least not since 2021 and during the bull market run-up. And I mean, so you had 21% of the volume coming in on XRP, followed by BTC at 20%, and then ETH at 8%. So just to put that into perspective, and yeah, this is the largest volume by anything in the last 1.5 years outside of Bitcoin. So I want to go into XRP. I know AJ, I think you got some XRP charts pulled up as well.
Yeah,
and
sure.
What does all of this mean? Because I know initially with the SEC case, when we were speculating on price and what would happen with the favorable outcome with the lawsuit, a lot of people were throwing out $1 and above, $2, $5. There were people screaming $8 for the price of XRP token. What do you think? Are we in some consolidation zone between 60 and 80 cents? Do you think we're going to go higher? What are the charts speaking to you?
Yeah, sure. So Tim Warren and I, good friend of mine, works here. He also does a show called Investing Bros. We've been having this kind of petty, silly argument about XRP. As you see, this yellow line here is a support resistance line for XRP, and this line goes back a ways. If you go back and look at 55 cents on XRP, it time and time again ends up back to 55 cents. He is super public about XRP coming down back to 55 cents. And I was on the other side of that saying like, no, it's in a triangle. We're going up from here. Like it's too bullish. Like we have to understand XRP has been suppressed for years and years and years. And now that community, that's a very vibrant, massive community, by the way, finally got a win. They finally got what they've been waiting for. And so I'm kind of more on an XRP bullish side. And like I kind of think even if Bitcoin goes down, XRP might continue on. Will XRP, come back down to reality at some point? I mean, it's possible if we even look at like the 2-hour chart here, right? So first of all, we were in this triangle. It broke forward up out of the triangle. On a 2-hour chart, this wick, if we finish this wick here and it closes above that, like if you ignore, the 93 cent wick up and we just look at the bodies of the candles, this could constitute as a higher high. And that kind of makes me feel like, if anything, we're going to try to retest this 93 cent level. The thing is that, if things do go sideways and it tries to like heat off, it tries to cool off, like how far down is it going to go? Well, see, this is the lowest it went here from when it wicked back at 69 cents, after the initial run up. There's a little bit of volume at 59, excuse me, and then there's Tim's 55 cent level. So these are all things I'm looking for at the moment. Even if we kind of, zoom in on like a much smaller chart, like the famous 23-minute chart that I love the most. Let me look at like the indicators here. So XRP is continuing, like it is overheated for sure. A lot of green positive money flow. It's over the 80 on the RSI. Is this thing going to continue? Like, I don't really know. I'm kind of personally looking for it to kind of wiggle its way up and retest this higher level, if that's possible. That's a super bullish narrative. I did catch a little bit of the trade when it broke out of the triangle. If you look at like the 2-minute chart here, that's one of my favorite charts to trade. I was watching this level here, and when it went above it and then bounced back off of it, I caught a little bit of this trade right here from there to there. The move was 5.68%. I only caught 3% of that, but 5x leverage, not so bad. So personally, this looks like, to me, like right now, this looks like it's going to come down to like, and then maybe I think if it stays above one of these candles here and continues back up like that, or even if it came down, as long as it doesn't go below this line, I think we'll be okay in terms of bullish continuation. This second right now, I would probably look for a short. But I think like as the next couple days continues, I wouldn't be surprised to see XRP retest its high from the day it went off. So like you just said, like there's a lot of volume with the XRP bulls, and they're surpassing Bitcoin with their trading volume right now. So I think it's kind of it's in its own world right now, and it's awesome to see.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna let you go here because we gotta get the show moving. And David scoots this show along pretty well. I know we're way behind schedule, but that's what I do.
Yeah, you're good. So you're good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
I don't have time. I don't have time to do the charts of it, but just some alpha for the Sin City Crypto for your viewership. 2 coins I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at the graph and I'm looking at render. Pull up the chart and do the math, but those are the ones I'm actually looking at right now. And XRP. I've been when something goes off like XRP. Go ahead.
For graph and render, you have any of that on your social media, on Twitter, or do you have any more info that our viewers can go check that out at? And
we just lost him.
We lost him?
No, he's back. He's back.
Am I here?
No.
You're getting a little choppy, but yeah, you're back.
Sorry about that. But for my personal trades, I keep them pretty fast. But basically, maybe I'll just for you guys.
All right. Well, thanks again, AJ, for coming and joining us. It's always a pleasure having you on here, and we'll look forward to having you back on. And I'm sure we'll get you on in a few. So, till next time, brother. Thank you.
Later, boys. Thanks for having me. Peace.
Thank you. All right. So real quick, I just want to give a little shout out to the chat here. So if you are new, say hello. So we can drop an hola back at you. We got Crypto Frankie Poo, Crypto Damas, Alex, New Turk, and Crypto Minded, Jay Crypto Minded. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. Also, guys, do us a favor, hit that like button. Brought to you today by David's Desk. And then getting into the next article here. This one's good. Hit the like button, guys. Hit the like button. So, taking a look at their next article, our big topic for today was RFK, Robert Kennedy Jr., and he has been an outspoken supporter of Bitcoin. He was at Bitcoin Miami, and he keeps an open mind, and he's running for the Democratic nomination, which, at first, when he first showed up at Bitcoin Miami, I think there was about a 10%, 15% chance that he was going to take the Democratic nomination, or, what was his chances of winning it per the polls. And we know those polls aren't exactly accurate. We don't look any further than the first time that Trump won the election. Everyone said he was going to lose. But, those things do have some kind of meaning. And RFK has been now a favorite for taking the Democratic nomination. He did go on Joe Rogan podcast, but he hasn't really been too vocal on these big media channels as far as his Bitcoin stance. So he came out, and I'm going to just go ahead and pull this article up, but he's come out and he backs the he vows to back the dollar with Bitcoin and exempt BTC from taxes. And so I'm just going to go ahead and go through this. U.S. Democratic presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. unveiled a plan to exempt Bitcoin from capital gains tax when it's converted to the U.S. dollar, and then back the dollar by a basket of assets like gold, silver, platinum, and Bitcoin. Backing the dollar and U.S. debt obligations with hard assets could help restore the strength back to the dollar, rein in inflation, and usher in a new era of American financial stability. And then he also goes to say that there's a very, very small, perhaps 1% of issued T-bills would be backed by hard currencies. And then he's also echoed his comments. He said all of this at the Heal the Divide PAC event. And so this isn't the first time he talked about it. As I mentioned, he was a speaker at Bitcoin Miami. So he's echoing the comments he made in this conference, defending the right for self-custody on Bitcoin. So he's not just looking at it as a commodity or an asset, but he's looking at it as, hey, we need to protect the right of self-custody and that free speech. And then you need to protect the right of running blockchain nodes at home and promising industrial neutral energy regulation. So basically, there's been an attack on Bitcoin. We've heard about taxing the miners. We've heard about the taxing on capital gains tax, and he's fighting against all of that, right? And, to expand on it, I know there's been a few haters on Mr. Kennedy saying that, hey, he's still a Democrat. He's just saying this just to get votes right now, but his party doesn't align. But party lines are shifting, and there is a growing sentiment that Bitcoin and crypto is here to stay, and let's adopt it. And I think that he does have a beneficial view of crypto, and I think it is legit. Now, benefits include facilitating innovation and spurring investment, ensuring citizens keep their privacy, incentivizing venture capital to grow business in the tech job sector in the United States, rather than just go across to the Switzerland, Singapore, Germany, Portugal. Now, the IRS treats Bitcoin as property and investment other than currency. And so Mr. Kennedy also says that it's a mistake for the U.S. government to hobble an industry, drive innovation elsewhere. Kennedy wrote that the proposed 30% tax on crypto mining is a terrible idea. And he has wrote that referring to the incumbent President Joe Biden, also is a Democrat, but he does have opposing views outside of what the incumbent is looking at when it comes to crypto and taxation. Now, taking a look, I do have a video here. I'm not going to play the whole video. It's 9 minutes, but this is him echoing the same thing that he had in his keynote speech. So
he created silver certificates. He created gold certificates. They were late after his death. Those were discontinued. But he understood the relationship between fiat currency and war, fiat currency and environmental, large-scale, very, very destructive environmental projects, and also these giant aggregations of wealth and the unbalance, the disparities in wealth that are ultimately the ultimate yield of every fiat currency, and then also the threat to America from the inflation, and ultimately the destruction of the dollar as the global currency. And Bitcoin is part of the basket of hard currencies that I think that the Kennedy administration is going to encourage the proliferation of and the propagation of. And I mentioned many reforms that I'm committed to in my Bitcoin 2023 speech, including self-custody. Your wallet should be your own. The capacity of people to run, of American citizens, others to run Bitcoin, or to run nodes inside their own homes.
So, as I mentioned, he did echo a lot of what was said at his keynote speech, but they have. So I have some data here. So he's talking about backing U.S. Treasuries. And so when you back the dollar, how do you back the dollar? Well, you can start with Treasury bonds as one example. Now, a lot of people think, hey, you're going to back a currency. It's a little different than what we had in the 70s, where you could redeem currency for the equal value of an asset, which particularly was gold in the 70s. You don't have to have it redeemable, but you can still say, hey, our money, the value of our money is pegged to underlying assets. Now, you can't go and redeem it, but you can just say, hey, we have these basket of treasury assets set aside, and this is something that we don't touch, that is correlated to the value of the printed dollar. Now, to take a look at the just some of the numbers of the U.S. Treasury market, you have $22.1 trillion is the size of the Treasury market. And even if you were to take, say, 1% of the Treasury market and allocate that to Bitcoin, I mean, you're talking $200 billion right there. And then if you were to, and then also taking a look at the M2 money supply, so you can kind of see where we're at now without anything backing the currency. You can see going back to the 70s, how much we've had, how much inflation we've had through printing, that we haven't had any underlying asset backing the dollar, and it's just been a full faith in the political system. And so this is where we're at. This is perhaps a shift in ideology in the monetary system, and why not throw Bitcoin in the mix? Now, I know I threw a lot there, but I want to kind of get your reaction, and I'll kind of leave it vague. So you got Mr. Kennedy, presidential nominee, going for office, the most outspoken bullish Bitcoin politician I've heard. Now, there are some other people that are pro-crypto, but I mean, the guy's talking about capital gains, backing currency. So the list goes on and on. He just talks about Bitcoin. I haven't heard him talk about alts, but what's your immediate reaction to Mr. Kennedy and his stance on Bitcoin?
Yeah, so the one thing that he said that I can absolutely get behind as something that I believe could be a realistic outcome is removing capital gains tax on Bitcoin and potentially other cryptocurrencies. I think that's a pretty strong thing to run on, or at least just reducing it by quite a lot. Look, at the end of the day, in a perfect world, I would love to have the US dollar be backed by precious metals, oil, in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, other hard assets and commodities. That would be ideal. I personally, and I could be out of my depth here, but I just don't see any realistic path towards that happening for a couple reasons. One, because the Fed has a license to print money, and I don't think they're going to ever give that up without a fight. I think you can call me a conspiracy theorist, but I think you are just asking to get assassinated and removed from this earth if you're trying to take that power away from the Federal Reserve to print money. Second thing, and again, I don't know if I'm looking at the correct metrics here with 100% certainty, but I think we've inflated so far off, we've debased currency so far off what is realistic in terms of backing the currency by these assets. If you look at our actual national debt, I believe it's 31 trillion, if I'm not mistaken. And if you look at our gold reserves, it's 480 billion. So it's about a half a trillion. So if we got 31 trillion in national debt, but we only have $500 million worth of gold. Now, obviously, if we came out and said, the U.S. came out and said, hey, we're going to back our currency with gold, then gold prices would skyrocket. Sure. And you could close that gap to some degree. And you could, obviously the same thing could be said for all of these other assets that the U.S. owns. But I just don't know if it's a can of worms that you can close back up. I think we're so far removed from that, and I think that there would be just so much resistance to that from the powers that be and the people that can just print money on a whim, that I just don't think it's a realistic goal. In a perfect world, yes. Do I think it's realistic? No. Am I for the removal of capital gains taxes on many things, even apart from cryptocurrency and Bitcoin? Absolutely. I think it's good to have somebody talking pro Bitcoin, but I do, and maybe somebody who's an expert on U.S. government debt and currency and more of an economist than I could put together an actual realistic path to where we could get the U.S. dollar backed by these currencies. But right now, realistically, in my opinion, I think it's just a soundbite, but it is really nice to have somebody running for office, seriously running for office, that is pro crypto, pro Bitcoin, and pro hard assets.
And I agree with you. I do think that we live in a world right now where we've ripped off the Band-Aid when it comes to gold-backed currency, the dollar. We are borrowing more than ever. We're essentially just paying, interest by printing money to pay interest at this point. I think we've broken that. We don't bring in enough money to cover the interest and bring down our spending or our debt. And so we're in this loop, this positive feedback loop where we just keep spending more, and we're spending more to pay the interest, which is in turn driving us to borrow more, creating more interest. And so this seems like a trend that there's really no way out. And my man, Robert F. Kennedy, he can believe that he can do it. And I think he truly does. I think he says, hey, we can fix the system. I don't think that he is saying it just for, the spotlight. I don't think he's saying it for notoriety because he thinks it's cute. I think he truly believes it, but I don't think he'll be able to execute that. We talked to his presidential campaign advisor. We were trying to book him on the show, and so we did have a long sit down talk with his press team. And he really is, or at least through the extension of his team members, he is really supportive on Bitcoin. He did go to Bitcoin Miami. And so I take him for his word. I just don't see a way, as you mentioned, that he can execute a basket of goods to support the dollar. The printing is out of control. We don't bring in enough money in taxation, and we don't have a high enough GDP versus our borrowing to stop that process that we're going through. And I do want to just take a quick intermission. We have a little shout out, $100 super chat from our boy Jimmy. Jimmy dropping the nuke over here. Jimmy's been hanging out with us for the last 3 days here in studio. So a big shout out to you, Jimmy. And then we also got a $4.99 super chat from Biomex earlier. If you're here still, big shout out to you, Ola. He said, Big Rob, big fan of Forrest as well. Hit the like button. So big shout out to you, Biomex. And then also we had, what was it, 20 gifted memberships by Jimmy as well. So Jimmy is handing out the cashola and the memberships today. If you are new here, say hello so we can drop an Ola back at you. We got Fadden Tradfi, Crypto Tail, NW, Brian Baca, A-Bob, Auntie the Great. And so to all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. I have one more article. I know we're getting pressed for time here, but just one more just to touch on. The U.S. Senate bill, there's a new U.S. Senate bill that wants to regulate DeFi in the similar way as a bank. Now, what does this mean? Well, they're trying to get your KYC on your DeFi, and we know that Uniswap and these DeFi protocols can't exactly ask you for KYC because, well, it's a computer program and nobody behind the wheel. Well, U.S. Senate says not so fast. Now, the U.S. Senate is poised to take another crack at regulating the crypto industry with a new bill that would place a stringent anti-money laundering requirements on decentralized finance protocols. The bipartisan bill, the Crypto Asset National Security Enhancement Act of 2023, would require DeFi protocols to impose bank-like controls on its user base. Now, how do they tend to do this? Now, the bill tends to fight the rise in crypto-facilitated crime and close off avenues for the evasion of money laundering and sanction measures that are critical to our national security. This is a quote from some of the people that drew up the bill. Now, the bill envisions sidestepping these issues by placing requirements on anyone who controls a DeFi protocol or makes available an application to use the protocol. So likely a reference to groups who build the user-friendly front ends for protocols, otherwise cumbersome smart contracts. So if you're not physically using the smart contract on, or writing the smart contract yourself and using it on Ethereum, and you're going through someone like Uniswap, they build the front end for you. They're using Ethereum's network, and this is who they want to go after. So they don't want to go after the layer ones that issue the smart contracts. They want to go after the dApps, essentially. Now, if nobody controls the DeFi protocol, they're addressing all the ifs and thens. If nobody controls the DeFi protocol, then as a backstop, anyone who invests more than $25 million in developing the protocol will be responsible for KYC, essentially. So they're saying, hey, okay, you claim as DeFi. Well, who put the money up to start this? Well, you're responsible. And so what they're saying is that you put the money up to build the protocol, you need to build the KYC and implement it as well. Now, these controlling entities would need to vet and collect information from their customers, maintain anti-money laundering programs, report suspicious activities to the government, and block sanctioned individuals from using the protocol. Whew. That's kind of crazy, right? And I don't know what the likelihood of this bill passing. I will say this. This bill was submitted by 4 senators, 2 Republican, 2 Democrat. So this is a bipartisan bill. So what does that mean? What do you, I'll just kind of, I read it for what it is. First of all, any chance of this thing passing? If it does, is there any chance of this thing working? What do you think of the bill in an overview? What do you think? Knee-jerk reaction?
Yeah. So first question was, any chance of it passing? Genuinely have no idea. I don't know if it'll pass. If it does, the implications of it, I personally don't think are that severe. So obviously, if I'm not mistaken, this would just be for the U.S.-based projects. So immediately, the immediate effect would just be that you'd just drive innovation offshore, which is the same old story that we've been seeing in the United States over and over and over again. You'd have DeFi protocols not launching in the United States. So why would they? So you just have, them offshoring onto islands, country, these countries that we already see the centralized exchanges running from or running out of, countries like Singapore, countries like the Bahamas. So you see all of these offshore, you see a large amount of offshoring of these projects. Additionally, if they tried to continue to go after these DeFi protocols, even once they're already offshore, what you'd see is customers, because customers and users at the user level would not want to KYC and do not want to KYC. The users will just shift from using DeFi protocols that require KYC and comply and enforce U.S. regulation to ones that don't. And there will, in my opinion, always be ones that don't. And even if the U.S. government goes after the ones that don't, you will see them move to layer 2s that have privacy. I think Aztec protocol or Aztec network is a layer 2 that will have a privacy feature similar to like Zcash or Monero. I think it runs on ZK rollups. And you'll have chains like what was formerly called Enigma. I think it's now called Secret Network. We had a brief privacy layer 1 narrative last market cycle towards the end of the bull market. And I think we'd see more of that. I think we'd just see protocols and DeFi being built where it can't be touched. And if you're on a privacy preserving layer 1 or layer 2, then ultimately you can't be found and you can't be tracked. And at the end of the day, that's, I think, probably the best solution to not be able to be traced at the user level or at the protocol level.
Now, the first thing that comes to mind with this is, could they implement a regional base like IP address tracking? And we see it right now with exchanges that operate offshore that offer services to different countries globally or different regions. And I know there's certain exchanges that you sign in and they ask you hey, we notice that you're logging in from the US. You need to go through KYC. Now, if I were to log in for the first time in a country that doesn't require KYC, let's just say Brazil, for example, then they just let me through the door and let me transact without any need for KYC or identification because I'm not located in that region. And that's what we've used VPNs for in the past when it comes to using exchanges and trading, was because, hey, my region is not from the US, or at least my computer is saying that. And so I can see a situation where if something like this does pass, and like you alluded to, I'm not sure what the likelihood would be. I'm not sure how much pushback this bill would have, but I'm looking at it from, hey, if something like this were implemented, what would the requirements be for these protocols? And hey, I think that a regional based check-in with an IP address would be how they would implement this. I don't see any other way around it. And, maybe they offer a US based website and then they offer an international based website. Maybe that could clarify it, but I could see a situation where, hey, you can satisfy the KYC demands. You can also offer the product for US customers and also have your international business as well. So I don't think that would be a nail in the coffin for DeFi if something were to pass. I think it would just be another layer of complexity that we've already grown accustomed to here in the States. And I don't know. I would hope this wouldn't pass. I think that there are enough outspoken supporters of decentralization and how that ties into free speech. But we saw what happened with Tornado Cash. Wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if something like this were to get support and go through with favorable votes and pass. But I would hope that our Congress would step up and let us have a little free speech. Now, I do want to wrap this thing up now. So I want to say big shout out. First of all, Jimmy was here in the last 3 days. So It was great meeting you here in person. For those of you that are going to be visiting Las Vegas, if you want to come hang out with us, please reach out to us. DMing us on Twitter is the easiest way. We'd love to have you come by and hang out with us. There's OG. Now, we also have, for those of you that are going to be here next week, on the 29th, we have our meetup. It's both a collaboration party between us and George from Cryptos R Us at the top of the Mandalay Bay next Saturday. So for those of you that are coming, we're excited to meet you. And then, we'll have David back next week as well. And so one last shout out to our channel sponsor, Cam's Blue Wire Tech. And so if you're looking for IT solutions to your network, your business solutions, look no further than Cam's Blue Wire Tech. And then we also left their website there in the description. Now, we do want to encourage you guys to go check out In and Out Crypto, which is our merchandise sponsor, or merchandise website, ran by the Don himself. And so, guys, go check out the website. Tons of stuff on there. We have the Sin City drop-down menu, so you can see all the Sin City merch. But there's also a lot of XRP merch, which is flying off the shelves lately. And what else do I have? What else am I forgetting? This is David's normal task here. So that's it.
I think we covered everything. Go to the social. Remember to follow Forrest.
Can we get one last suggestion for the like button here? Let's get it. I really want to get a little bit more like. There it is. So that's it. If you haven't hit the like button, do the desk a favor. Hit the like button, guys. Thank you. All right. So without further ado, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be coming back to you tomorrow again. We got Forrest again tomorrow co-hosting. So you'll catch me and Forrest and Rocco, of course. So until next time.
Forrest, can you do the finger tornado?
Oh, yes.
Forrest, you want to do it? The finger tornado? It doesn't seem like he wants to do that. No? Oh, okay. Thank you. We're just gonna cut. Let's go.
Cassius Couvé. Sin City, crypto. Everybody know we here for entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I spit the game, but they gave it. Name the coin, it's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy a dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming hola till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over when the finger tornado close ya.
It's hard to do the show by myself, man. And like I know when David does it by himself, he's already like structured this thing. So he like guides the whole, I do the whole setup, the visual, the audio, and all this shit. So